Hey friends, it's Wilk, and before we get started with this week's episode, I want to mention a couple things real quick about a couple affiliates. Affiliates help me keep the show going, and by you using the services of one of our affiliates, I get a little kickback at no extra cost to you. So if you've ever thought about starting a podcast, Buzzsprout is a great place to start. They have some phenomenal tools, and starting a podcast is a lot easier when you've got the right tools. So join over 100,000 other people who've started a podcast with Buzzsprout, and if you click the link to them in our show notes, I'll get a little bit of something for every paid membership. So I would really appreciate that. Helps a lot to support the show. Also, online grocery shopping, it's a big thing right now, especially with the pandemic and the lockdowns and people, being sketchy about going out in the public. If you want to do some grocery shopping at home in a quick, convenient way and have that stuff delivered to your house, check out Instacart. Instacart is a phenomenal way for people to buy groceries online and have them conveniently delivered to their house. So, again, in our show notes, check out one of the banner ads, check out the links. Instacart is a great way to do a little bit of online grocery shopping and have it conveniently delivered to your house. So with that, we're going to dive right into the show. Welcome back, my friends, to the Derate the Hate podcast. I'm Wilk from wilksworld.com, and I want to thank you very much for joining me for another episode of our podcast. Now, this week's theme, or this week's topic, is going to probably be a little bit more controversial than some of them that we've done, and that's all part of the deal. I don't think anybody can really talk about hate like we do. The Derate the Hate podcast. I don't think you can really have a serious discussion about hate without talking about racism. And I know we've talked about it. We've dabbled with it a little bit. Like back in episode 18, we talked about labels getting out of the box, and we've talked about it in other episodes where we bring it up. But there's a couple things that have happened recently, a couple things that have happened in the past couple weeks that caught my eye. They stood out, and they're things that I think we need to talk about. And I'm just going to give you my feelings on it, and you guys can take it for what it's worth. But this week's episode, I think we're going to call, I think we'll go with those who have to interject race into everything are the real racists. And like I said, that's probably a little more controversial. It's a controversial title. A lot more controversial than most of the stuff we talk about, but it's definitely something that I'm going to talk about today. So, first questions I want to ask, like I do each week, what have you done today to make your life a better life? What have you done today to make the world a better place? So, that's a question I think we all need to ask every day, and or questions that we need to have to ask every day. So let's go ahead and get into the topic at hand, and I'll tell you why I brought it up. First of all, I'll tell you why I brought it up. In the past week or the past couple weeks, I'm not sure exactly when I saw it, but there was I don't know if she's a podcaster, I don't know if she's on television. I think she used to be a sports broadcaster of some sort. For somebody, her name's Jamele Hill. She was interviewing some boxer. I don't know, boxer. I think he used to be a vlogger, whatever. Forgive me, I don't have a lot of the details. I just saw the quotes and read up on it a little bit more. And I've seen some of Jamele Hill, who I think is an atrocious and hateful person. I've seen quite a bit of, read a lot of the stuff that she's said. I've seen some clips of the stuff that she said, and to me, she's a very hateful and racist person, and I feel sorry for her, quite honestly, I really do. But I saw this thing that I thought was just absolutely over the top the other day. There was So now the names come to me. There was a fight. It was the preliminary fight between the exhibition or sparring round between Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. or whatever. This vlogger or reality star, I don't know what he is, Jake Paul, guy that I've never heard of, was fighting Nate Robinson, another guy I've never heard of. Anybody who's listened to a lot of this stuff knows I'm not up big time on pop culture. I don't watch television. I very seldom get into. I've never watched an episode of any reality show in my entire life. Thankfully, I chalk that up as a huge plus and accomplishment in my life. But so this Jake Paul fights Nate Robinson. Like I said, don't know either one of them, but I know one guy's white, one guy's black. Okay. I also know, like I said, from seeing things in the news and reading some of the stuff that Jamele Hill has written and seeing some of the clips of things that she said on television, that she's an incredibly hateful person. So apparently her and Carrie, somebody, her co-host, are interviewing this Jake Paul. And Jake Paul, in the second round of this fight, had knocked out Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson was obviously not in the same league with Jake Paul. They beat each other up pretty good, put on a pretty good show, I guess, for the first round. Didn't watch the fight. But in the second round, Jake Paul knocked him silly a number of times, and the third time he knocked him down, he didn't get back up, just laid down. He was out cold, face down. And then this Jake Paul is doing an interview with Jamele Hill and whoever else she's, her co-host, and she asks him, do you think knocking out Nate Robinson was racist? Obviously referring to the fact that Jake Paul is a white guy, Nate Robinson is a black guy. Okay, from the understanding that I have of everything that I've seen of Jamele Hill so far, like I said, she's a very hateful and spiteful woman. She is. In the past, she's made comments about our president and not only our president but our president's supporters, saying that everyone that supported this president without question is a racist. She's made comments about all black athletes should leave white colleges and go to all black colleges, basically supporting the idea of segregation. I think she's been fired from a number of news outlets for her outrageous and racist statements. So the reason that I bring this up is not, not particularly because I want to bash on Jamele Hill. I don't care about Jamele Hill. I feel sorry for Jamele Hill. She is a very hateful and racist person, and I think that's sad. With that said, I am one of those people who truly believes that we live in the greatest country in the world. I do not believe that our country is built on racism, and it never was built on racism. There are racist segments in our population, but there are very small and segregated segments of our population, and that's unfortunate, but that's going to happen anywhere. So, why do I bring this up? Why do I say those who have to interject race into everything are the real racists? Because there are people out there who have a significant interest in keeping people divided. There are people out there who make a living on keeping people divided, keeping people hating each other. And those people are the people that are constantly trying to separate. It's like I talked about back in episode 18, boxes, get out of the box. Don't let somebody put a label on you. One thing I've found throughout my life is there are bad people from every segment of society, every race, every color, every gender. They're going to be bad people. But I'm not one of those people who believe that it has to do with anything. It doesn't have anything to do with their race. It doesn't have anything to do with their nationality. It doesn't have anything to do with their gender. Take it from somebody who, I lived in the state of Florida for 13 plus years. Okay. For a good chunk of time, I drove a cab in the city of Orlando, one of the most diverse and busiest tourist towns on the planet. And as a young guy driving cab in the city of Orlando, I encountered every segment of society from probably every continent on this planet multiple times in any given week. Okay, with that said, I am, or at the time I was a young, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy. Not that that matters at all, but it mattered a lot to a lot of people. And one thing I learned from that experience, and one thing I learned from those times of my life was, it didn't matter where you were from or what color you were, or what language you spoke or what continent you came from or what religion you were. There were going to be bad people from every segment of society. Every segment of the human race has got good people. Every segment of the population, the human population, has bad people, and some of those people are just downright hateful. And all too often the people in the media and certain segments of our whether it be social media or our educational system, make it out that there's only one group of people that can be racist, and that is so far from the truth. We like I said, I mentioned earlier, there are people amongst us who have a vested interest in keeping us divided and keeping a hate streak and a barrier of hate between certain groups of people. And those people are the people who have to interject race into everything. I call them race hustlers, and I don't think there's any better example than what's his name, Al Sharpton. There's no bigger race hustler, and there's probably not another person amongst us who's made more money off of driving hatred and division amongst the races, and so race hustlers like that, people have to interject race into everything. They have to look for a racist in every closet and under every bed, and they constantly need to do it. You see it in our media all the time. All the news stories, everything. They have to. The first thing they have to bring up is the person's race, and it was a black guy that did this, or it was a white guy that did that, or this white person did that to that black person, or vice versa. And quite honestly, bad people doing bad things has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with the people being a bad person, or the person being a bad person. To constantly interject race into everything is just another way that people try to keep us divided. The worst part about all this, and the biggest victim of this constantly having to interject race into everything, is the people that suffer the most, quite honestly, are the people that have actually suffered from real racism. There's nobody that denies that real racism exists in this day and age. It's not nearly as prevalent as it's been in the past, not anywhere as close to it. But when people constantly have to interject race into every story, and people are constantly searching out and seeking out, like I said, a racist in every closet and a racist under every bed, and trying to make everything about race, what that really does, it does a huge disservice to those who have actually suffered real racism. I know this past year, there was some NASCAR deal with Bubba somebody who, they looked at the pull cord on a garage door that, tried to call it a noose and whatever, tried to equate it to some kind of lynching joke or lynching hoax or whatever the case may be. That's the ultimate in stupidity. Before that, you've got this Smollett guy in Chicago who, paid a couple other dudes to beat him up, and then he tries to blame it on racism, tries to equate that to the mindset of the supporters of our president. It saddens me greatly to know that there are so many people out there that are so hateful and so spiteful that they need to try and make things up and beat people up. Beat this thing of racism, to death. And like I said, the people that it does a huge disservice to, and a real disservice to, is those who have suffered real racism. So, those people who, if those people that are constantly having to interject race into everything and make everything about race and try to equate everything to racism, knock it off. I mean, quite honestly, you're doing a huge disservice to those people who have truly suffered, and it's just not right. It's not right. It's the definition of hate, and you're hateful people, and I feel sorry for you. So, with that, I'm going to turn an entirely different direction here. I'm going to go into our good news story. Here's a story that has absolutely nothing to do with race, doesn't mention any race in it in any way, shape, and form. It's a phenomenal story that comes to us out of Florida, about a business owner, a small business owner, who has had an exceptionally good year. Has actually had a pretty good year for the past couple of years, and decided to turn that into an opportunity to help people. So Michael Esmond is a small business owner out of Gulf Breeze, Florida. He owns a pool and spa company, and 74-year-old business owner. And for the past couple of years, he has taken some of the proceeds from his business. He's been on hard times himself before, he said, and he knows what it's like to have your power shut off. So what he did, and what he has chosen to do with some of the proceeds from his business, is pay the utility bills for people who have fallen on hard times, and they're going into this holiday season with a real chance that they could have their lights turned off themselves, and he wasn't going to let that happen. So not only are we heading into the holiday season, we're also again facing some serious issues as a result of this pandemic and the reaction to it, and this Esmond fella has taken it upon himself to take and pay the utility bills, or the past due utility bills, for, I think it was 114 people. It was over $7,000 worth of utility bills for people who were in danger of having their utilities shut off, before the holidays. So, again, anybody who's listened to me for any length of time knows I love a story about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and this is no doubt a story like that. Michael Esmond from Gulf Breeze, Florida, Gulf Breeze Pools and Spas, made a big difference in the life of I think it was like 114 families. So great job, Mr. Esmond. Hats off to you. It's an incredible thing you're doing, and I know there's going to be a lot of grateful people out there. And when that karma train comes around, I'm sure that good things are going to happen for you as well. So I will put a link to that story in the show notes. I think it's great, and I think you need to check it out. So, with that, I'm going to wrap it up for this week. I'm just going to ask you again: what have you done today to make your life a better life? What have you done today to make the world a better place? It's really up to you. So when you do get out amongst the people, be kind to one another. Be grateful for everything that you've got. And remember, it's up to you to make each and every day the day that you want it to be. So get out there, spread some kindness. We're coming up on the holidays. If anything that you've heard in the D-Rate the Hate podcast is something that you benefited from, please share it. Share it wide, share it often, share it with as many people as you possibly can, because I greatly appreciate that support. I greatly appreciate it. If you heard something or seen something that you'd like to discuss with me, hit me up on you can find me on Twitter at D-Rate the Hate. Look us up on Facebook. Check me out on wilksworld.com. Wilk@wilksworld.com is the email. So with that, I greatly appreciate all the support. I thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe. Please share. And with that, I'm going to back on out of here. Catch you next week.